Imagine spending your days stuck in a cubicle, staring at the clock, feeling like life is slipping through your fingers. Every morning, you dread the commute, the endless meetings, and the meaningless tasks. You know you're capable of more, but the fear of leaving your stable paycheck keeps you trapped. Most people settle, dreaming of escape. But what if one small passion project could change everything? One bold decision to follow your calling could free you from the corporate grind and lead to a life of financial independence, purpose, and happiness. Jamie had always been diligent, the kind of employee who followed every rule, met every deadline, and impressed supervisors with her reliability. After college, a steady job at a reputable corporation seemed like the ultimate achievement. But years into her career, the glow of accomplishment had faded into a dull monotony. Each morning felt like waking up to the same script. The alarm buzzed too early, the coffee tasted bland, and the commute was long and exhausting. The office itself was a sterile environment of gray walls, fluorescent lights, and endless cubicles. Meetings dragged on with discussions about KPIs, budgets, and quarterly projections that seemed disconnected from reality. Emails piled up relentlessly, each one demanding attention but offering little satisfaction. Jamie worked efficiently, but the tasks felt meaningless, like filling time instead of creating value. The recognition she received for completing projects couldn't mask the emptiness she felt. Her coworkers often joked about the rat race, but for Jamie, it wasn't funny. She felt trapped, caged by the stability that everyone around her praised. Her friends and family celebrated her steady paycheck and the security of benefits. Yet Jamie couldn't shake the growing sense that she was living someone else's life, following someone else's expectations. Nights were particularly hard. She found herself scrolling through social media, observing friends who had left corporate jobs to follow passions, launch side projects, or travel the world. Every post was a silent reminder of the life she yearned for but hadn't dared to pursue. Despite the dissatisfaction, she kept herself busy. She meticulously planned her days, checked off tasks with precision, and occasionally convinced herself that this was the price of success. But deep down, Jamie knew she was sacrificing creativity, curiosity, and freedom for a routine that stifled her spirit. One evening, after returning home from another long day, Jamie sat at her small kitchen table with a cup of lukewarm tea and a notebook. She began jotting down thoughts she had ignored for months, the moments when she had felt alive, inspired, and energized. Slowly, patterns emerged. She remembered the joy she felt in college when designing posters for student events, writing articles for the campus magazine, and experimenting with creative projects outside the classroom. These weren't just hobbies. They were glimpses of her true potential, long buried beneath spreadsheets and corporate memos. That night, Jamie made a quiet promise to herself. She would find a way to reclaim that spark. She didn't know how or when it would happen, but she realized that the life she was living, safe, stable, and predictable, was no longer enough. The corporate grind had offered security, but it had also taken her joy. Somewhere inside, a small voice whispered that fulfillment wasn't a distant dream. It was waiting for her to take the first step. And so, amidst the hum of fluorescent lights and the clicking of keyboards, the seed of a new journey was planted. Jamie didn't yet know that this quiet resolve would grow into a bold leap, a passion-driven career, and a life she had once only imagined. But for the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. One weekend, Jamie decided to attend a local workshop on graphic design, mostly out of curiosity. She had always enjoyed creating things, designing posters, editing photos, and experimenting with layouts, but had never considered it a viable career path. As she sat in the bright, sunlit classroom, surrounded by like-minded attendees, something stirred within her. The exercises, the colors, and the challenge of translating ideas into visuals felt invigorating. For the first time in years, Jamie felt genuinely excited, her mind buzzing with possibilities rather than the dull repetition of corporate tasks. Back at home, she couldn't stop thinking about the workshop. That evening, she opened her laptop and began exploring online tutorials, free courses, and forums where designers shared tips and experiences. She started experimenting with basic projects, creating logos for imaginary businesses, redesigning familiar websites, and posting her work in small online communities. It wasn't perfect, far from it, but every attempt sparked new ideas and improvements. Each late-night session became a quiet rebellion against the monotony of her day job. Soon, Jamie noticed something unexpected. Local small business owners, impressed by her early experiments, began reaching out for simple freelance tasks, designing a flyer, tweaking a website banner, or creating social media graphics. At first, she charged nothing, happy simply to see her work used and appreciated. Each completed project gave her a surge of confidence that she hadn't felt in years. For the first time, she realized that her skills, self-taught, nurtured in spare evenings and weekends, had real-world value. Word began to spread slowly but steadily. Friends mentioned her work to acquaintances, social media shares drew more attention, and Jamie's portfolio of small projects grew. What began as a hobby was evolving into something tangible, a budding freelance business. She started keeping track of her clients, deadlines, and income in a small spreadsheet, carefully observing which types of projects excited her the most. The passion she discovered didn't just bring creativity back into her life. It reignited a sense of purpose. Jamie realized that fulfillment wasn't about a stable paycheck or climbing the corporate ladder. It was about pursuing work that challenged her, inspired her, and allowed her to grow. A small seed of possibility had been planted, and though she didn't yet know where it would lead, she felt something she hadn't felt in years: excitement for her own future. Balancing her corporate job with her growing freelance work became a challenge Jamie hadn't fully anticipated. Late nights spent designing, early mornings replying to client emails, and weekends dedicated to building her portfolio left little room for rest. The exhaustion was real, yet it came with a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. Each small success, a client's glowing feedback, a project completed on time, or a social media post shared widely, fueled her determination to pursue this path further. Despite the excitement, fear lingered. Jamie worried about leaving the stability of her paycheck, benefits, and the predictable routine of corporate life. Friends and colleagues expressed concern, warning her that the freelance world was risky, competitive, and unforgiving. Even her family, though supportive of her talent, questioned whether she was making a wise choice. But deep down, she knew that staying in her cubicle would be a far greater risk. The risk of spending decades in unfulfilling work while her passion and potential remained dormant. Determined to minimize risk, Jamie created a detailed plan. She calculated savings, projected income from potential clients, and outlined milestones for her first year as a full-time freelancer. She reached out to mentors online, asking for guidance and insights into managing finances, contracts, and client expectations. The more preparation she did, the more her confidence grew. Finally, the day arrived. Sitting at her desk in the corporate office one late afternoon, Jamie drafted her resignation letter. Her hands trembled slightly as she typed the words, aware that this was more than a letter. It was a declaration of independence, a commitment to her own future. When she handed it to her manager, she felt a mixture of relief, fear, and exhilaration. The office, once a place of routine, now felt like a chapter she had closed. Leaving that day, Jamie didn't have a guarantee of success. She had no steady paycheck, no certainty, only the clients she had begun to accumulate and the passion that had been reignited inside her. But for the first time, she was working on something that truly mattered to her. Each step into the unknown was a bold affirmation. She was no longer living according to someone else's script. She was creating her own story, a story of courage, creativity, and the pursuit of a life defined by purpose rather than routine. The first months as a full-time freelancer were far from easy. Jamie quickly realized that passion alone couldn't sustain her. She needed strategy, discipline, and perseverance. There were slow weeks when clients delayed payments or projects didn't pan out, testing her resolve. Nights blurred into mornings as she balanced multiple deadlines, taught herself new design software, and experimented with marketing techniques to reach more clients. It was exhausting, but each challenge strengthened her skills and determination. Word of Jamie's talent began to spread. One client recommended her to a friend, and another shared her work on social media. Soon, small businesses, startups, and even local influencers were reaching out, seeking her creative expertise. Jamie carefully prioritized projects, learned to negotiate fair rates, and began to treat her freelance work not just as a side hustle, but as a professional business. She also discovered the importance of branding. Jamie created a simple yet professional website, showcasing her portfolio and highlighting client successes. She shared her journey online, openly discussing the struggles and victories of leaving corporate life. Her authenticity resonated. Clients appreciated not only her talent, but her honesty. Slowly, what began as a risky leap of faith was evolving into a sustainable career. Financial growth followed, but more importantly, Jamie found fulfillment. She no longer counted hours at a desk. Instead, she measured success by impact. The delight of clients seeing their ideas come to life, the growth of small businesses she helped flourish, and the creative freedom she now enjoyed every day. Each project reinforced that leaving the corporate grind was the right choice. Over time, Jamie expanded her services, experimenting with digital courses, workshops, and mentorship for aspiring freelancers. She hired a part-time assistant to manage scheduling and communications, allowing her to focus on creative work and strategy. Her brand was no longer just a personal endeavor. It was a growing platform capable of influencing others and creating opportunities beyond her own. Through persistence, creativity, and strategic planning, Jamie had turned a fledgling passion into a thriving career. The initial fears of instability had faded, replaced by confidence and purpose. She had not only escaped the rat race, but had crafted a life where freedom, fulfillment, and growth coexisted. Jamie's journey was proof that when passion meets preparation, risk transforms into opportunity, and dreams evolve into reality. Years into her journey, Jamie looked back at the person she had been in her corporate cubicle, stressed, uninspired, and quietly yearning for more. The leap of faith she had taken, leaving the security of a steady paycheck, had transformed her life in ways she could hardly have imagined. Her freelance business had grown steadily, and what had begun as a small side project was now a fully fledged creative agency, serving clients across industries and countries. Financial stability came, but it was accompanied by something far more valuable: freedom. Jamie controlled her schedule, chose the projects she was passionate about, and had the flexibility to spend time with family and friends. No longer dictated by a boss's expectations, she found joy in the creative process. The challenges that once intimidated her now felt like opportunities to learn and grow. Each success, whether a client's viral campaign or a glowing testimonial, reinforced her sense of purpose and self-belief. But Jamie didn't stop there. She recognized that her journey could inspire others trapped in unfulfilling jobs or hesitant to pursue their dreams. She began sharing her story through social media, podcasts, and workshops, offering practical advice and mentorship for aspiring entrepreneurs. Her focus shifted from just earning a living to helping others find their own path, showing that courage, persistence, and authenticity could turn uncertainty into opportunity. Her mentorship quickly gained traction. People from around the world reached out, sharing how her story had given them the confidence to take risks, launch businesses, or pursue creative passions. Jamie realized that her true success wasn't measured solely by money or accolades, but by the lives she influenced, the dreams she helped ignite, and the freedom she enabled others to find. Looking back, Jamie understood that escaping the rat race wasn't just about leaving a job. It was about reclaiming her life, following her passion, and building a career aligned with her values. Her journey proved that fear and uncertainty are natural companions on the path to growth, but with persistence and vision, they can lead to remarkable transformation. Today, Jamie wakes up excited, fulfilled, and motivated. She has not only achieved financial independence, but also discovered the true meaning of success: a life of purpose, creativity, and the ability to inspire others to do the same. Her story stands as a testament that with courage, preparation, and heart, anyone can leave the ordinary behind and create a life worth living. If Jamie's journey inspired you, hit that like button to show your support. Share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever taken a leap of faith to follow your passion? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that motivates, uplifts, and proves that leaving the ordinary behind can lead to extraordinary success.